of course, some APAC viewers, some diehards out there tuning in. So welcome to the stream once again. I hope you enjoy seeing Chiefs put on a show here today, and let's hope they can. Into the bans we go. BDS kicking things off with a Thatcher ban.
Absolutely, there's going to be plenty of European fans for BDS as well, I would have thought. It's, you know, it's getting a little bit late over in that direction, but it's not too bad yet. Only 10:15 back in Europe, 11:15 if you're in France. So I think they'll survive through 2 games for BDS.
Is it 11:15 in France?
Yeah, it's 6 hours ahead.
All right.
5 hours for UK, 6 hours for France.
Yes, yes. So 12:15 in the UK.
What time is it?
Siege time, Tim.
No, it's 5:15, yeah. So 10:15 in the UK, 11:15 in France.
No, because I swear they're further behind, no?
No, they're an hour ahead of the UK.
Time in the UK.
Honestly, Des, you'd have thought...
10:15 PM. Sorry, I thought you were going back. And
No,
I was like, huh?
Going forward.
Right. Sorry, mate. I thought you were talking about this morning, and I was like, hang on, what?
Goodness me.
No, okay, I'm with you now. I'm with you. I'm aligned. We are together. We are one. Synergized as always.
How do they build that?
How do they build that synergy? No matter what, the last 2 coming out from Chiefs and then the mirror to complete things off for BDS. I spoke about this earlier on today that sometimes most often you'll see a team go for 2 air quotes normal bans. In this case, BDS, that Jamira, pretty predictable bans. Chiefs on the other side had that freedom of choice. And going in for a nomad ban when they start on the attacking side is quite interesting. A lot of that, I think, come in as a target ban against BDS on their attacks. They employ that an awful lot. We've seen Rafal run it a number of times. I know that he likes Maverick on this map. But again, it's just taking away a little bit of comfort from BDS when they have played on this map. Admittedly, they've lost all the way through. So maybe by forcing BDS to change things up here, you'll inspire a little bit of change and maybe see something different coming out.
BDS are going to take the first defence downstairs in Laundry. Now, the setup that we're getting is quite interesting because I was just going to say BDS are a team that you don't necessarily see on the roam too much. They're certainly not one of the most widespread of teams. Sometimes you'll get, you know, sort of a semi-roam, but not too much commitment to the rest of the map for them. Quite often play turtle defences. However, having said that, we've got Renshiro on the Mozzie and we've got Elems on the Vigil. Elems is setting up inside a kitchen. That's nothing new. We see a lot of that. It prevents the push into Freezer, and it's just a really powerful position inside of Oregon. But with Renshiro out on the Mozzie as well, that is actually pretty widespread for BDS.
I normally feel like we're getting the luxury treatment.
Look at this, though. Look at this, Des.
This is now. Look, let's not get super excited. You do see a lot of teams.
I am excited, Des.
A lot
I'm
of teams
super excited.
Tim, calm it. A lot of teams will go for a big push up to the showers point. It's here where you then start to hit a roadblock because you can have players at the top of Freezer stairs, you can have them inside of security, and you don't strictly know exactly where they are because there are mute jammers scattered around. Elems here is the one holding. He's got that mute jammer on the doorway, so it's hard to push into him. But once the aggression comes in is when things may start to change. By the looks of it, though, Chiefs are just trying to bypass him inside of security and work their way upstairs and try and catch Rafal. It's kind of a 1-for-1, but it's only digital there to complete the kill. So on the other side, things aren't fully equalised out until the C4 comes in, a 1-for-1 out on the roam.
Elem's on the mute, of course, not the Vigil, as I said earlier. My eyes are not always the best, Des, and it looked a lot...
You're even wearing glasses, Tim.
I know. It looked a lot like the Vigil.
You might want to get back to Spec Savers, me lad.
They're not that dissimilar.
Mate, do what I do. Do what I do. Stand in front of the desk, and you'll really.
I'm gonna have to.
It's fantastic. Trust me.
Come there in the front
it's like seeing the world in HD.
I mean, I thought that when I first started wearing glasses. But apparently not. Apparently that's not sufficient. There we go. So we're going to have a challenge coming in on Laundry Stairs. It's going to be Elems. Takes himself down to the bottom of Freezer Stairs and uses the shotgun. Gives it the old one-pump blast up to the top of the stairs and takes the man down. 4v3 BDS, and they've done a good job here, Des. They've lost 1 out on the roam, but they've taken 2, and they've managed to fall back to site. A lot of time has been wasted. 2 minutes has gone, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from BDS so far.
It's good. They're keeping disruptive, I think, and definitely trying to keep Chiefs guessing, which I think in the current state of the game you have to do. Attacker repick has just meant that you as the attackers can pick the perfect lineup against the setup. So if you know that come execution time, the attackers, if they've got all 5 alive, have got the optimal composition operators on side to make a push happen, what are you going to do as the defenders? You're going to try and disrupt them. You're going to stop them having the perfect come execution time. And with 2 C4s in the round, Chiefs struggling to really get things going in round 1. Worthy being pushed back. A drop comes in from Boydie. Both of them now pushing in from this Laundry side. And the smoke's coming out of Playday, holding them at bay at least for now.
It's all becoming a little bit last gasp here for Chiefs with only 2 players left on the board and no real access to site. They've nothing else to do other than go for that Hail Mary down Laundry, try and push in and see what they do. Taking an absolute lungful of toxic gas there and then shut down with the shotgun. And that is going to be round number 1 for BDS. And they looked solid there. I like the setup. I liked Rafal up on top floor. Lost his life, but not the end of the world. Took one down with him. Alems finishing the kill with the nitro. And then from there, they just played it perfectly. Timing, falling back, not over-challenging. Really nice from BDS.
Just sensible, right?
Yes.
And logical.
Yeah.
Logical siege is probably how I'd always describe BDS. You know, the one word I would never use to describe them, whereas I might do it with other teams, is exotic. And that sounds like a bit of a weird word to use. But when I say exotic, what I think of some other teams is they're the kind of guys who will break. They can break the plan. They can swing. They can go hyper aggressive and just do things that you wouldn't normally anticipate a team doing. And when I say that, I think back to, say, Prano in the game that we cashed earlier on inside a bakery, under pressure by 3 players. What does he do? He somehow works his way up to the double bakery doorway with a shotgun and looks to go hyper aggressive on the contest. That's not the sort of play that you'll see BDS making. I feel like it's a lot more calculated and logical. And with the lineup they've got in this round, it's starting to feel that way as well, right? The only 2 members you might see playing off-site are Shaiko and Alems here, and even then, I can't imagine it will be for a very long time, if at all.
Going to be a top floor hold here in round number 2. BDS's secondary site is going to be upstairs in dorms. Breeder just finishing up a little bit of renovation there. You're holding 8 fingers up at me, Des. You're holding 8 fingers up at me.
And what does that screen, what does it say on the screen, Tim? Where can you see the number 8 in the top right corner of that screen?
I can see it next to the frags, Des.
You can, mate, you can. And what does that mean? That's a lot of grenades that they can start tossing around. The problem is,
There's
if you
2
die,
less there, yeah?
There's 2 less now. There's 1 less player. Ethan taken out by Alems, who... it's such an odd place to be, right, for BDS. Like, sure, you want to go and roam all 3 floors of the map, well, why not make it work for you? And that's a wonderful way to get some early disruption in. If that was the Ying of Digital, for example, you basically lost your trump card for the entirety of the round.
You have Rafal pushing up into showers. I love this sort of flexibility from BDS. Like I said, they can be quite a rigid team sometimes. They do like to lock down their defences, but a lot of mobility coming out from them. A lot of rotations, changing things up, making it difficult for Chiefs to move in from anywhere around the map, and I love it. Bouncing was about to try and bounce a grenade into the security room there, but was just taking an absolute peppering from the top of White, and he had to just chuck it back in the pocket. There's pin back in, put it away.
It's almost his skull bouncing off the floor from those vertical shots, but fortunately, as you say, stumbles away on about 5 HP. Can start juicing himself back up now with that Finker's got 2 more juice ups to go, so it won't be the end of the world. There's the second one. For Chiefs, though, I'm not going to say they're fully stalled out, but you can see now they've got themselves into a bit of a bind. They've hit that first point of resistance and are like, okay, we need to get control here. We've got to keep things going. We're halfway through the rounds, and they have yet to find anyone back on the side of BDS.
Exactly that, and it's something that the Chiefs are starting to struggle with. I know we're only in round 2, but if you look across the scoreboard, 1 kill, Des. 1 kill in 2 rounds, and that is not going to cut the mustard against a team like BDS. They're trying to get something working. They've got Digital on the double window, but BDS, they're not going to overexpose themselves now. They don't need to. They're a team that are experts in playing on the site. Worthy opens up the barricade. He's going to look to get a nade in here. He might have some joy. Candela goes in, and there we go. Nicely teamed up. Gets the kill onto Breeder. Second Candela goes in, and there comes the push behind it. Digital Boydie getting kills for themselves. 3v2, 2v2 as Ranchiro manages to find one with the Alder. That leaves us now coming down to the last 30 seconds. What a kill from Rafal onto the window, taking Worthy out. It's all up to Digital. He's inside of sight. He's moving around, but I feel like they know where he is. That's a great kill onto Ranchiro.
Here he comes now as well, stepping in, the step out coming in, but they just miss each other like 2 ships in the night. Digital getting a quick shot off Rafal, not being connected, the shotgun in hand. Red pings all the way through, and Digital finds a 3K. Round 2 to the Chiefs.
There you go. It's game on, Chiefs. I love that from Digital. Candela's in. I'm going in, getting kills, and spent about a minute inside a site, and ultimately finishes the round from inside of there as well. BDS did a good job to try and hold on, but a 1v2 coming out for Digital. Beautiful play from Chiefs.
Lots of info as well. You saw those red pings coming out in the dying seconds. They knew exactly where Rafal was, and it was an easy step around the corner, go for a pre-fire, end of story. So, BDS go, guys, we can do better than this. We found Ethan at the start of that round. It's been 5v4 for the whole thing. Why did we still manage to give that round away? They think they can correct it. They're going to try the same site once again, up in Kids and Dorms, and I guarantee you Ethan's not going to find himself being caught out in the basement by Alems.
I would agree with you. I don't think that'll be the case again. Probably going to be a little bit more careful on that entry. It's all about just getting those drones working, making sure that you're aware of what is ahead of you. Des!
What was that game on Coastline where I think it was 3 rounds in a row, someone got C4'd out a pool entrance door? Did it involve M&M? I want to say it was Nello in some way.
Yeah, it was Nello.
3 rounds in a row, someone got C4'd.
But it wasn't Nello doing the C4.
No.
I'm sure he shut the guy down on like the 3rd attempt.
Yeah, I think for the first 2, because he got with the nades, didn't he? Yeah, someone got C4
yeah, he just landed the nade in through the door.
Oh, just imagine that. I mean, everyone's had it in ranked sometimes where you die to one thing once and you go, oh, they won't do that again. They do the same thing again, you're like, right, this is really starting to take the mick now. What's going on?
Yeah, I can't remember for the life in me who the other team was. We cast too many games.
It was some tortured souls, Tim. It was some tortured souls all the same. Rafal once again in the same spot, by the way, playing on the downstairs inside of security, just watching for that window. And he's opened up a lot more of the floor this time around. It was only a couple of shots last time. You got Playday off to the side. You got Shaiko who can move across from inside a pit. They've got all kinds of things to work in their favour by the looks of it, but Chiefs have cracked it once. What's to say they can't again?
Bouncing in the same position, but a lot quicker this time. He's actually going to head straight up the white stairs. Could be a little bit of a danger because, of course, he's got Rafal in behind him. But I tell you what, he takes a chunk of damage off Renshiro, but he knows that the challenge is likely to come here. Has himself a quick peek around. He did have Digital on the window on the cover to prevent him being pushed from security. Rafal just, again, he's playing this cautiously. I hope it's not too cautious. Just allowing Chiefs that possibility of getting up white stairs so quickly to start doing damage. But BDS, hold on, they survive. And for the time being, they can at least try to slow things down.
Yep, grenades raining in. I was going to say surely one has got to connect somewhere when they've got 6 on side. And sure enough, it does find its target. Playday once again going down to a nade. He'll be ruined these last couple of rounds because all he's done is just stood there whilst explosives have rained all around him. And Renshiro also getting caught out. No! Holding such an aggressive spot against the wall and might find himself here being fully exposed by these X-Skyros opening the wall up. All it's going to take is someone to step round, and that's a freebie across to the side of Chiefs.
Renshiro, I think, just trying to avoid the embarrassment of being killed by an X-Kairos pellet there. Just trying to drag himself back from the breach. Ultimately, it doesn't get much better as he's taken out by the shock drone from Twitch. That's going to leave us now 5v3, and Chiefs are looking good on this attack once again as they won it last time. They're looking like they might just do it again. It took a 1v2 last time, but this time 5v3, and they are certainly in the driving seat. Shaiko just moving through into pit, but Ethan manages to find a Lems 5v2, and it's starting to fall apart for BDS here on the top floor.
It feels like a lot of individual plays, which is kind of my worry here. A great shot from Shaiko, as you come to expect, and probably will say many times throughout the competition. But for the most part, BDS have just sat still, planted their feet and been naded or killed when one man's back on the rotate up armory stairs. It's looking very robotic, and that has always been my biggest fear of BDS. Shaiko looked like he might find something, but there is nothing to be taken from the round. Chiefs, a second in a row up on that second floor, Tim.
Shaiko just looked like he got caught on the door frame a little bit there. He hit shots on the window, he turned around, he hit shots into Trophy, and he just couldn't move fluidly enough into Dorm, slightly out of position and loses his life. But Chiefs, they were on top of things there, flawless in the end, and what a round it was from there. I'm sure we're going to see BDS moving on. It's going to be back down to Laundry, the one site that they have won so far. They'll try to level things up here, but not ideal for BDS.
Where do they go next is my big question. Because if they win this defensive round now, do you really retry the top floor and potentially give 3 rounds over to Chiefs on their attacking side? Ideally, no. You'd want to try one of the offsides, but time will tell where they go there. We've seen some really cool Ossa tanks coming into the meeting side of the map. Dining is kind of played out very similarly to the way that it has before, with big focus on getting the wall opened up. So we'll see how things step into it once we get on that side of the game. For now, at the very least, though, again, BDS going downstairs. They looked very comfortable last time. They got out on the roam. There's no mute here this time round, but Renshiro is back on that Mozzie once again. So we do think, oh, I'm a liar, actually. Lems is playing it bottom of the screen. Clearly, I'm blind. They're doing the same thing as last time then, Tim. 2 or 3 players out on the roam, looking to waste a bit of time, try and find a member or 2 of Chiefs. But as always, out on the roam, your biggest focus is consuming up utility and wasting time.
We just saw there Renshiro on the, just locking in the Mozzie. Of course, just to explain for everybody, there is no repick for the defenders. What that's displaying to you is that they changed during the pick phase. So they initially picked one operator, changed to somebody else, and it's just giving us that reference so that we can understand how the defensive composition has changed coming into the round. And obviously the attackers, they can repick during the prep phase.
Imagine defender repick. Ugh.
Imagine.
Be horrific.
Yes, it would.
Just drop in, just drop down a bunch of utility, swap off, carry on.
I mean,
Well,
you'd
well,
have to at least make the utility disappear.
You would. Imagine if you didn't, though. Oh, it'd be one of those.
You'd easily have 10 operators worth of utility in a round.
Oh, it'd just be horrific. Alems, once again, is sat inside of security, so we saw him wasting a bit of time here previously on that mute again, just slowing down the attackers that once they get up to that shower line and start looking in towards security corridor, well, that's when you're a little bit blind. You're relying on gun skill there rather than droning. Last time around, they just ran straight upstairs, if you recall as well, Tim. Forgot about Alems entirely and said, look, ignore that guy. Let's get the focus on trying to clear this top floor, and they paid the price with the C4 picking him up for free. Rafala's also dropped down here now inside of security, and they've got a hatch that can drop through anytime they wish. And by the looks of it, for Rafala, it's going to be now. As he works his way up to the top of Freezer, they now have this wonderful crossfire ready for if someone does try and push through.
That's it. Not going to be easy for Chiefs from here. Like you say, last time they were able to take that fight on the top floor and get themselves at least something going, but not the case this time, as Rafal has escaped without any damage, having wasted a minute and a half. He's ready at the top of the white stairs there. That drone will not have seen Alems. It will have already been sort of glitching out by the time it got to that stage because of the mute jammer, so they won't. I'm sure they'll be aware that Alems is potentially in there, but they won't know exactly where. But he's going to take a lot of damage there on the buck. He's all the way up in pit at the minute, and the challenges keep on coming. Bouncing fans Alems, but Rafal immediately on the trade there to pick up Bouncing 4v4, and that gets us underway.
I think Alems got tagged from the vertical there as well. Unfortunate, but BDS with the right sort of idea, backing away, sure, not quite respecting the verticals as it came out. They lose one, but do you get one back the other way? Ethan, I think was assuming the walk they hatch might be closer. I don't know. At this point, they want to make sure they've got an angle in towards the left side of this bomb chassis, because that will enable whoever's playing in that bottom left corner to be easily killed once you push your way through Freezer. For now, though, Rafal spraying those off. A smoke coming in, I think by the looks of it might be enough. In fact, no, it's just flashes to let them have a second go at this, but Playday comes out in the swing, finds one. Boydie one back the other way. So down to that 3 versus 3 in the last 20 seconds. They've got to step their way forwards, but in comes the cavalry from BDS. They find 2 more. Worthy with an 8 in the kill. What is that? Down to a 1 versus 1. It's against Shaiko. Does he know where he is? Because Shaiko can just waste time here, but here he comes down highway. Here comes the trigger pull coming out from Worthy. A couple of shots coming in. Is he Worthy? No, he's not. Shaiko with the closing kill, and BDS very narrowly find round number 4. Otherwise, this could have been a 3-1 scoreline, Tim.
Shaiko missing on his first bite at the cherry there. Had to go back for a second look, but finds the man. Won't mind that. 2-2 now on the scoreboard. And now comes the big question for BDS, the one that you asked. Do they go back to top floor, or do they take an offsite? I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it, because we're having a look at the players at the minute, but obviously we have the game feed as well.
Can I spoil it?
I mean, if you want,
I'm the kind of chaotic energy that we need,
I was just trying to give everybody a surprise so they could tell us what they think. There
Hey!
you go! We're going up to the top floor.
Okay, I mean, we've seen how that's worked out twice so far. The answer, not very well. BDS now with a slight change in tack as well. They've got a Lems coming along on the alibi. Shaiko on the Malusi once more. Rafal on the Mozzie. That just screams to me, we want to get off site and cause trouble. Or just cause trouble for ourselves by shotgunning Rashiro, apparently. That also works pretty well. Down to about 80 HP he will be. I'm curious to see if we do get much roaming around the map here. There's only the 1 C4 on side in Rafal's back pocket as well. But outside of that, this comp to me does look like a roam-based comp, Tim.
It does, like you're saying, it's not something that we always tend to see or expect from BDS, but they're going to have to do something differently, because it certainly hasn't worked out last time playing inside a site with one underneath, so potentially going to be changing that up.
What is this? What is that? Tim!
Osser, Monty,
Nook, Finker, if you want to include that in the mix. Damn, that's a lot of nades. 6 nades.
This is knock a normal lineup, does.
Get out. Take that headset off. Get out.
At least once every major. At least once every major.
There's always a joke to be made there, isn't there?
Round number 5.
I hate you so much.
I know you do. I love you too. Round number 5. We've got some damage onto Renshiro. He's taken quite a bit there. About 20 HP missing. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe a tickle more than that. Got Alems and Rafal downstairs underneath. Renshiro playing on those white stairs, just preventing that rush that we saw last time. I think it was Bouncing who got himself straight up there and put a lot of damage onto Renshiro himself. So he's going to have none of that. He's a man after your own heart, Des. He's on the DMR.
Oh, mate, you know what I'm like for people who play DMRs on a Rooney. All day. It's just a general, really. The KV, I don't care where. You can sign up to the Church of the MK14, 1.5x anytime. We all worship our god, Super Onigiri, as he is the man who drops 27 kills or so with that gun on the map. Where was it against again?
I don't remember. We didn't cast that one.
We didn't, but we should know about it, Tim. You should study the religion. Here we go, then Smoke's coming out here, tagging onto Digital for a second. He takes a few lungfuls, loses himself about 40 HP here. So for now, at least, forced slightly away. Cannot feed that information in. Boydie up on the rappel, not really waiting to see a knock normally, just looking to cause a bit of trouble when the time is right. But everything here, Tim, screams to me, it's timing based. They want to get themselves completely lined up and then hit it hard all at once.
Bouncing, he's moving in through security. I'm not sure if he's aware of the location of Rafal on the far side of that wall, but he's going to hold his angle for the time being. And you've got to imagine that he wouldn't be.
Oh, Rafal's on the drone. He's going to come up behind him in security.
The wall is soft, so he'd have the opportunity. If Rafal comes off the drone, I think he's just going to have a little look through here, Des. This could be the challenge. You see them come together there. Bouncing takes some damage, and so does Rafal. How goes the Nitro? Does it do the job? No! Lems, he does find Boydie along the way, though. 5v4, 56 seconds to go.
And now trying to work the way up White. They've got this Oster shield on the window. They're trying to get their way to the top of White, but Playday has been pretty patient so far with those smoke canisters. Ethan, another grenade kill coming through. They've found so many in this half so far, and it doesn't look to be slowing down. But at this point, you're in the last 30 seconds or so. Here comes another smoke out of Playday. That will be the last as they step in to try and get this plant down. Another kill out of Rafal. A second from Playday. They've shut them down, Tim. They've broken this top floor undefeated streak that the side of Chiefs have had. And it looks like here we'll end up finding ourselves at the 3, which now means we have to go to an offsite in the next round.
Much better from BDS there. And a big difference for me, Des, is getting that entry kill. It's only the second that BDS have secured so far in 5 rounds, and they just seem to always, they did last time as well, just sort of really power through those rounds where they get the entry. So they need to really be focusing on that and trying to get it locked down. Don't give Chiefs the advantage. Don't let them into the round. It's going to be round number 6 then, which will be BDS's final defensive round. And it's going to be the offsite. It's going to be meeting, Des. What are we going to see from BDS?
Well, I'm more concerned about what we'll see on the other side, because from Chiefs, they're the ones who've got to figure out how they attack it. Very commonly.
Have we got the Oscar?
We do. I'm very glad to confirm that we do. The only thing I have complaints about for this normal attack is it becomes very predictable. You know that an Oscar is going to go towards tower. You know that stage wall is getting open, and you know the Oscar is going to put a shield down. So what do you do as the defenders? You just bring along a ton of explosives, a ton of impact nades, of which BDS have held on to 4. You've got the Yokais on side. They've got everything they need here to stop this plan coming off. So Chiefs are kind of playing into the game plan here that BDS want to employ. Now it kind of becomes a what's stronger, a really well set up defense against the Ossa, or the go-to execute that every team does on this site.
Going to have the thermite brought along, so the hole in the wall into meeting rear stage is going to be as big as possible, we would expect. And as you say, that normal take is going to be the 2 Talon shields set up on rear stage stairs.
Yep.
Try and get the view in, and then potentially shift one. Sometimes one gets shifted down to plant behind, or sometimes it's just used to help with cover.
I like this. This is quite cheeky. So they've only reinforced one side of it, and where teams might bring a kite and electrify the whole thing off, for example, they've got just one side, because what it enables them to do here is get the impact trick through that wall onto the exothermics on the other side. So Chiefs here can say, you know what, forget about the thermite here. We'll just make use of the Maverick. We'll get that left side opened up, and then we can play it as normal. But it's going to slow them down a little bit. It gives more things to consider. So they've got to be very careful here in terms of how they approach it.
Bouncing heading in, that's going to be the first Talon shield
no.
deployed. Renshiro, he's got himself down at the bottom of the stairs
just
there,
hold.
Des. And if they're not aware, as you say, it's all about patience is this. What he really wants is for Chiefs to be sort of almost going in for the plant. He wants them pushing in towards rear stage so he can come up behind and get 2, maybe even 3 kills.
I don't think they saw him on the drone. Digital did drone in a second ago, but I didn't see the drone look down Big Tower. It was looking in towards site itself. So I think here, they may end up paying the price. Okay, I think now they know he's there because they send the mute jammer there. You wouldn't have a mute jammer downstairs randomly. What I like is that BDS have acknowledged that they might try and pinch him from inside of blue. So what have they done? They've struck an extra man downstairs inside a highway to give more support. So you've got 2 BDS players on the downstairs looking to cause trouble, but also backing each other up.
The thing is, Chiefs could leave them out in the cold here by just not playing into it. All they need to do is keep an angle on those stairs so that Renshiro cannot push up at any point. But they've also got to be aware of the potential of that hatch being opened, Des, because with Nitro in hand, he could impact on a plant by throwing it up through the hatch. So something they have to be aware of. Renshiro basically right now is a big sticking point for Chiefs and could be a big problem as this round continues. 2 minutes in, Chiefs not really made any direct progress in towards a position to get that plant down.
It's just kind of teasing chasing and poking at the downstairs setup, right? Because you've also got a Lems down there, as mentioned, who's watching out towards top, just in case someone tries to push through. It gives them that control of E-Box they need to come away with the C4. But right now, they don't look too shaken, to be honest with you, Tim. BDS being found out by bouncing, though, is not the way they wanted it to go. He was the man inside the site doing damage. Renshiro, C4 in hand, but no, gets pushed by bouncing. 2 massive kills in the round, and Chiefs may have just broken this hold open.
Exactly as I suggested, they may deal with Renshiro, just leave a man there, train the gun on him, and as he tried to do something, they shut him down. Shaiko, he puts out the impact nade, he's just trying to get anything going that he can, try and do a tickle of damage, try and give himself any sort of advantage in the gunfights that are going to come, but the time could be a problem here. Shaiko gets one onto Digital, Rafal looks for one, doesn't find it, bouncing with a double before Boydie finishes it off, and that's going to be the round for Chiefs. That's going to be 3-3 on the half, an even split.
And a 4K for bouncing in the round as well. Massive delivery, just what you're looking for if you are the Chiefs, or of course a fan of theirs here. BDS probably lamented the fact that they've let 3 rounds slip there as well. 2 on the upstairs, the offside not going the way they wanted, and part of me wants to say, why is BDS trying to peek at that point? You have no real reason to be peeking and challenging. They haven't got the wall open. They're not ready for an execute yet. And your whole reliance is on what's going on the downstairs. But they get a little bit too cheeky. And this is kind of where I was concerned about BDS. I know they were trying to play this more aggressive style a few months ago when the criticism of they were a bit too robotic was very much a world sort of thing that everyone was saying. You know, being aggressive doesn't mean keep on peeking the same angle again and again and let the other team figure it out. No, it's coming up with different ideas. And this is what I said before about them not being a very, air quotes, exotic team.
Breeder's got himself 4 kills, but just feels like he's been a little bit quiet by his own standards there. There's 2 rounds where he got taken out by nades, and then, as you say, just over-peaking a little bit there. And so that's 3 of the rounds. That's at least half where you feel like Breeder maybe hasn't been as active or as sort of contributed as much as he might do in other circumstances. So heading on to the attack now, BDS, they're going to have to try and get something going a little bit better than they did in the first half. It was a struggle for them. Chiefs, maybe a little bit of a surprise for BDS here.
I definitely think to some level, yeah. I do want to touch on the kills up and down either side of the scoreboard, though, because right now, just like we had back in G2 versus DZ, it's a very balanced game. There's no one individual that's absolutely flying and killing everyone, right? Bouncer got that big 4K, put himself up to 5, whereas before he was just sat at 1 and 4. So it has been a performance step up from him as well. But on both sides, you've got players contributing. There's no kind of one player you can look at and say, doing absolutely nothing in this game. But then equally, you can't say, absolutely flying in this team and carrying his team through some difficult rounds. No one has done that yet, which really, you know, points to that 3-3 scoreline that we've got. There's no one big strong advantage right now.
Digital maybe just misses a little bit of an opportunity there. There was a face at the window just looking in through electrical wall there, but didn't take the opportunity, couldn't snap round quick enough. Instead, he's going to push onto blue door. It's going to be the Monty that he comes face to face with for the time being, but just dips himself away. Toxic Babe canister going out as well, just to try and slow down that rush, try and slow down that avenue of attack for BDS. We're going to have Shaiko on the long angle as well, supporting the Monty, and it's all very much sort of bunker based at the minute from BDS and not really making any progress in towards site yet.
We've seen some plays like this from a lot of teams though, right, where you have one person sat up on big tower, they come down that pushing in when the distraction from everyone else inside of the construction side of things really starts to play in your favor. It's Alems up on the top floor here to stopping them getting flanked from big tower, but I imagine later on he will come pushing down with the rest of his team. Bearing in mind, we're only at 90 seconds into the round, there's still a lot of time and opportunity for the side of BDS to play with. But as you can see from Chiefs, they've got the full run of the map here. Nothing being shut down. They can play wherever they want, so can make use of those more controlling angles.
Alems is just looking to potentially head down those stairs now, but Worthy's playing it smart up on the top floor because Alems knows that he can't go too far because they could well end up finding themselves with one coming down those stairs and hitting them from the rear. Shaiko gonna move in there to try and get himself control of highway, which he will achieve. Doesn't find his shots quite. Digital managing to just duck away with his life there. Rafal on the Monte is just still trying to work and feed that information in from the electrical wall, but bouncing upstairs. And again, this is not going to be easy for BDS here. They still have the potential of a flank coming in.
It's very stiff, it feels like at the minute, which is my concern. And now Alems is starting to move down. Boydie should have heard that barbed wire on the big stairs getting taken out, which means Alems is working his way down. They're all inside of pillar, Tim. Everyone is together, and this could be their opportunity to get this big flank off, unless BDS, Alems has the read that someone's coming down. Smoke going a little bit deep here. Rafal's in and going for the plant, and BDS are taking ground for free here when no one's looking to challenge. In comes Bouncing, dropping down from behind. They get two, but can't quite finish everything off. Now the flank comes in. They get themselves three. BDS ignoring these flanks and paying the price. It's a 4 versus 2, and Chiefs look in a great position to be able to retake this site.
They do. There's very little that Playday can do from this position. He's trying to challenge in. Rafal cannot hit the shots with the pistol. He downs the man, but it leaves us now effectively 1v2. Playday shut down, and that's going to be disabled onto the diffuser. Coming in for Worthy, and BDS just couldn't hold on to it, Des. It was like they sort of sacrificed everything to get that diffuser down, but just did not deal with the two men on the flank. Playday and Bouncing, again, just proving a thorn in the side of BDS.
To be honest, again, for BDS, mechanical. One track mind. Focus on the site. We've got the Monty. We're pushing in. Cool. Alems, come join us. We've got control of Pillar. Oh, wow. They've given us everything. This could not possibly be a trap. Then you get Bouncing dropping through the hatch. You get two coming down Big Tower. And BDS just did not look ready for that flank coming in. And for a second, I thought, have Chiefs really given everything away? No. They were just springing a trap at the perfect time. And that creativity, that onus to be, again, more exotic in playstyle right now is coming out from the Chiefs, but we are not seeing it from BDS.
Round number 8 then, and interestingly, we are going to be going into meeting as the secondary site for Chiefs. We're getting straight in there. We'd normally expect to see this as a third choice potentially, but nope, they're not going to go upstairs to dorms just yet. Could actually be a really smart play here, Des. If they take this round and they get 5-3, they've then got dorms to fall onto, and that could then leave them with an easier round to get 6-3 in the match point opportunity.
I was going to say the start of the setup looks really on the defense as a reminder. BDS really got to find some momentum here. Otherwise, the APAC side could be walking away with all 3 points.
Well, let's see if that technical timeout, that bit of a pause, that opportunity to take a breath will be of any use to BDS. Just slowing things down a little bit here. As we said, Chiefs, they're going to be going into meeting and kitchen, what we would usually associate as a third choice pick. They will take it as their second. I don't know whether it's a little bit of sort of games here, sort of playing the site rotation, like I said, potentially lining themselves up to get the win here on the difficult site and then head up to dorms where they might be even more confident that they can get themselves onto that magical match point, that 6th round. As it is, we get ourselves back in, and they're going to be setting up meeting and kitchen. Are we going to have the Ossa brought along from BDS? That's the question at the minute, not on the board.
They did, just before the rehost kicked in, I think it was, I don't know actually, they've all changed positions are now on the leaderboard, which never really helps, but they did have someone 6 pick over to it. This is the thing I was curious about, mind you, this left side being opened up. Normally that's what the attackers want, is to open that up, stick a shield inside it, punch the shield out, go for a plant, easy peasy, 1, 2, 3, no complaints. So, that's what I'm looking out for, is to see if that really plays into BDS's favour. As it stands at the minute, there is no Ossa on side. I'm not at all saying that is the perfect comp that you must run as an attacking team on this site, but there's a reason why I'd argue in at least 80% of attacks on this site, you see the Ossa being brought along.
It's powerful. It's, you know, there's no two ways around it. You can hold down the angles that you need, you can protect yourself to get the diffuser down, and you can make life a nightmare for the defenders. But BDS choosing to go a different route, so we'll see exactly how this attack shapes up as we go on. We've got couple of nades on side. There's going to be 6 across the bottom, 3 operators, Finkersledge and Iana. Feel like we've not really seen too much use of the explosives so far from BDS. It's only 1 round in on their attack, to be fair, but we saw a couple of kills from Chiefs. They used them well, and you feel like BDS need to come in and match that. Shaiko, he's going to come in and take the head off of Bouncing, and that's going to leave us in a 5v4 with BDS getting what has so
Shaiko especially, who we heaped praise on at the start of this game. Again, one of only 3 players around the world to hit 100 plus kills. There was him, Citizen, and Vertical from the NAL. A couple of players from APAC definitely came close, mind you. Speakeasy was the guy that I said, you know, 2 male games on side because he only played 7 in APAC. Then he could have been over the 100 kill mark as well. But speaking of Shaiko, I'm trying to put a bit of praise on him. Worthy goes, he is not worthy. Gets the shutdown, 4 versus 4.
And a good shutdown to get as well. Nades on the side of Shaiko. There's going to be 2 going with him. None had been used, so that is a good bit of utility lost to Lems. He's going to find Ethan though, and that's advantage BDS once again as they continue this west-sided clearance. Also trying to get control over the top floor, so this would suggest to me that we're looking more towards a kitchen plant rather than meeting. Renshiro manages to find the last few HP that Worthy had and takes the castle out of the running. And Playday, he's finding himself under some serious pressure inside of pit. There come the final two. It's Rafal, it's Breedy, it's BDS, leveling things up 4-4.
It's bizarre how all that happened off-site. That Chiefs was still out on their own despite being in a 2 versus 4 and looking to cause a bit of bother. Sure, a little bit isolated, a little bit pinned out there up on the top floor, unable to get back easily. But one where BDS didn't really have to go far to finish that round out. Kidstorm's going to be the site for round 9, and Tim, I do want to remind you that once again it's 4-4. We've been at 4-4 twice so far today, and both of those games have gone to overtime.
How many games have we cast today, Des?
2.
And both of them went to overtime?
Correct.
And this one looks like it could?
Yes.
And might?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure. I don't think we've ever done a group stage day before where 100% of the games have gone. I know we are regularly the highest percentage of games that go to overtime. We are regularly hitting that stat. But
was that at SI21 where someone calculated that out?
I think it was, yeah, it was SI21 definitely, and then I think at one of the majors as well.
Right. Just follows us everywhere, Tim.
And definitely now here in Charlotte.
It's ludicrous. Let's see how Chiefs make use of this Valkyrie. Normally a pretty common ban that you see on maps, not just like Oregon, but most maps in general these days. I think here it gives you that chance to be quite cheeky and aggressive out on the road, dropping away the Mozzie that can somewhat fill the same role. You can, of course, capture drones and drive them around yourself if you're feeling a little bit lonely and want to go into a little bit of robot wars with the attackers. But the Valkyrie's going to really help you get cheeky out on the roam and try and disrupt the members of BDS, shut them down before they get anywhere near the sites.
Playday holding a very, very skinny angle there. Shots raining through the barricade, going to force him away from his position. Again, he's just in there trying to keep them. BDS just shooting in through the windows there, unable to finish the kill onto Boydie, but taking about 90-95 HP from him, and he's going to have to scurry away and try and get himself back up to that top floor via another method.
Really chancing death there, I think. You know, BDS are always going to shoot after you through those windows. Like, why wouldn't you? In the same way that he was blind spraying through soft walls, having to go on windows, trying to get himself back to safety. You just never know what you're going to find. We saw Doki hit a ridiculous headshot onto Canadian earlier. He's just in the same out of Rafal. I don't know how the hell that's come to be, but he's definitely given himself a bit of a disadvantage by bringing down one man. Here we go, though. The Candela's coming in from Rafal on the step-in, being sprayed at here as well, but the plant is going down. A C4 comes in. The smoke finishes it off. BDS, this attacker's fallen to tatters, Tim.
Chiefs are playing really, really well here. They have got the answer to almost everything that BDS are trying. The rounds that BDS are winning, they're winning gunfights, but where they're coming in, Chiefs have the knowledge and the ability to shut down the strategy side of things. Shaiko's going to be forced away from his spot by a Toxic Babe canister, right into the waiting arms of Boydie, who's more than happy to give him a little squeeze and take him out of the round and take another round from BDS. 5-4 Chiefs now, and they are heading towards a potential upset here, with BDS looking to possibly lose their first matchup of the Charlotte Major. And I just love what I'm seeing from Chiefs. They have the vertical shuts down, they have just the answers effectively. I mean, that was unfortunate, Rafal. I don't know how that came about, that Rafal hit the team kill onto Breedy. It's never going to be positive, but sometimes with a team kill, it's always a bit random, it's always a bit unlucky, but you just look at it and you think, does that just sum up BDS's day so far today?
I don't even want to say, like, it sounds harsh on Chiefs, but I think many expected, looking at this, that BDS would come in, demolish Chiefs, and we'd have a really good showdown between BDS and Astralis in the next fixture. And it's not to say that Chiefs are a bad team. I'm absolutely not saying that. I already said the changes they made back in March of Boydie and Bouncing Balls coming in have added a lot to this team in terms of the numbers they're putting on the board and the performances that they're having. But many would expect Astralis to be stronger than Chiefs, and therefore BDS need to really have a good showing against Chiefs to make that game against Astralis a good one. As it stands so far, dare I say, Chiefs win this one. BDS go on to get beaten comfortably by Astralis. Although, that said, we've seen a number of teams today who have won the first game convincingly or lost it and then gone on to have the reverse result in the next one. Look back to DarkZero. They beat G2. They go on to lose against a team that's playing remotely. It's been very back and forth and upside down, so we may yet see more of that today.
Absolutely, you know, one result does not necessarily affect another, but right now you just feel like this is going to do nothing for the confidence of a BDS team that struggled in much the same way through EUL and seem to be bringing the same sort of problems with them here to North America. Right now, we're going to be headed back down to the basement in round 10. Chiefs looking to hold this one down as they did back in round number 7. We've seen a nice little rotation from them. They're doing pretty well so far, keeping at bay the BDS attack. Now then, we've got Worthy and Bouncing up on the top floor, and it was something that BDS struggled with last time. They didn't shut down the roam game, and they were left to rue that decision.
Just as a quick heads up as well, in case you're curious, on the B stream we have got Heroic against G2. That is also getting underway on Oregon, so whether you're a fan of any of the 4 teams playing, I hope you like Oregon, because there's a lot of it going around at the moment. The BDS is looking like a repeat of last time. We need to see that correction, Tim, like you alluded to, not getting themselves shot in the back, but I kind of feel already they've got this setup where they're going direct to site. Unison once again giving Chiefs the entirety of the map, and we saw how well that worked out last time around.
So they're just not dealing with the roamers, and it is essential that they do. We've got Playday, Shaiko, and Rafal in there. So my question is now, where are Renshiro and Elems? And Elems is pretty much in the same position. Renshiro's at rear stage. So, yep, Chiefs are going to be able to keep themselves up on the top floor for as long as they want at the minute, because there is nobody, no movement there to try and move them away. Boydie, he's going to play inside a meeting. That was exactly the position that he was in last time, and he was supported by Bouncing, and they just waited and waited and waited until BDS had committed to that final push. So, BDS, you got to get yourself into that mid-floor. You got to clear them out.
It's going to be more of the same here, I think. I mean, by the looks of it, they've already completely reinforced themselves out of elbow. Don't care about it too much. BDS starting to work their way up inside a top here and then in towards pillars. Alem's being slightly more passive as well, looking at him, playing back a little bit further and again looking to contest that angle. Again, ask that question, you know, will he try and step and contest meeting a little bit here? It's hard because the wall is completely reinforced off. So Chiefs even kind of doubling down on saying, hey, this roam play worked super well last time. Why change it now?
Rafal and Shaiko get control of pillars much as they did last time around, and they're going to look to push in and just try and aggress onto highway, force Digital to stay inside of Freezer. But you know what? He's happy to stay inside of Freezer because he's got exactly the angle that he wants. He can challenge all the way through to that electrical door, and that's what he's going to try to hold on to. Bouncing, Boydie, same plan. Will it be the same outcome?
I mean, Alemza here at least is holding a little bit and being prepared for this aggression to come in, but he can't stop the drop, and the drop might be the one that they simply cannot stop. Here comes the swing stepping through as well. The plant will get completed once again, but here comes the push. It's Boydie down big stairs. Chiefs once again snap the jaws shut, but BDS somehow wriggle their way out. It's a 3 versus 2. Make it down to basically a 3 versus 1. Boydie, the only man left standing with a way of being able to stop it, and you're against the Monty. C4 coming out, not doing enough damage to be able to take him down here, and has now got to find the last 2 that left standing. Will he try and go for the res here? Surely not. There is a man sat in the rotate. Will the Monty come in for the push? Yes, he will. Turns around and finds the pistol kill. It's a comfortable closeout this time round for BDS, but once again, Tim, they almost got sprung on by that trap.
That's exactly it. There was still that moment in the mid-round. It was like they were sort of playing with fire. They knew that the flank was going to come. They were just confident that they could deal with it, and this time, yes, they did. They got away with it. Rafal having got the diffuser down. Last time, they couldn't get themselves into defensive positions. This time, they were already established. So, better from BDS. 5-5. We're going to see at least 12 rounds here, Des. Only one team gets the opportunity now to take full points, and that is going to be decided here and now in round 11.
They go downstairs once again. Huh. Okay, so they still feel there's something they can do here. Maybe there's a second strat in the strat book they can roll out, and it appears to be in the form of a Clash, Tim. Now, for those looking at it and thinking, well, why a Clash here? Clash can still damage a Monty even when his shield is up, but not many operators can do that, as we know. It's quite an annoying shield to play against the Monty one, but you can still get zapped to death by the Clash. And whenever I see this coming along, especially where there's a Monty being picked, I always go back to a very, very old game of G2 against RV on Cafe. It ended 6-6. Yep, it was back in 2020 when we had draws still in the game. And Pengu was the shield player coming up against Kendrew, who was playing Clash. And they just chased each other through 3 floors of Cafe, constantly zapping away at Pengu on the Monty. To the stage, it slowed them right the way down. And then G2 had to execute with no time left left, the Monty being completely ineffective. So the clash can be really good as long as you're looking to contest the Monty relatively early on.
Yeah, it's one of the two answers to Monty. You've got Clash, you've got Oryx. Those are your two choices, really, to be able to do something sort of directly effective. And, of course, Smokers being the operator. Bouncing's going out the window, Des! And he gets one! He's going to find Renshiro, and what an opener from Chiefs that is. Message sent, message received.
I'll definitely take that as a way to cause a bit of disruption. And just when I thought, okay, Clash on side, Legion, C4, Smokes, I thought, sure, they'll want to play back a little bit. They'll play more defensive here. But no, they're getting out on the map and causing trouble, Tim, because now BDS, again, have got a thorn in their sides. Chiefs acknowledging, okay, when they get control of Pillar and they pull off this plant execute, it can be quite hard to stop them unless we do really manage to rack up the kills. A great grenade coming in. Shaiko found him bouncing. He was getting a little bit cheeky at the top of the freezer stairs, leaving just Boydie across the security to try and hold this area down.
Well, Bouncing, you feel, should have known better than to get caught out by a bouncing grenade. Des coming in off the door frame there, and the punishment being dished out by Shaiko. 4v4, Boydie holding inside of security, but they know he's there. The challenge comes in, and somehow Shaiko wins out against a shotgun. That should never be allowed to happen. Digital dipping away on the Clash, taking a lot of damage from the nade. There's another one, and there is the death. Shaiko, 3 kills so far.
I mean, if it's a time for him to activate, now is probably right about that time. Just chasing the Clash with grenades there. All he saw was red, and not of his own death, but of the grenade indicator on his screen until Shaiko has the reverse angle. Not really reverse angle, but the vertical angle coming in from the hatch inside of security. Well played by BDS and a good use of utility to punish that Clash. 4 versus 2, though. We've got about 60 seconds to play with, and BDS temporarily having Shaiko hitting the deck. I'm sure he'll find himself a kill coming in here because Worthy really feeling he could get away there by running. Not going to happen against one of the better players in the world. Rafal picking him up, but now it's all down to Ethan left in a 1 versus 4.
Trying to do what he can, hold on, see if he can find himself a cheap kill. There's the drone, there's the information, there's the kill. It's Ilems to finish things off, but that was definitely Shaiko's round. Big 3 kill to kick things off at the beginning, and especially after Bouncing had taken that big gamble at the beginning to go out of the window and got himself the opener, but it just wasn't enough. We see it again here, taking Renshiro down, but it just was not enough. They could have really done with it being Shaiko that they took off the board.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Shaiko will activate from time to time and just kill everything in the server. It happens. It's like drawing out a deck of cards and finding the Joker, or the ace in this case. Not you, ace. Ace is in. Shaiko pulling out a good number of kills. It puts BDS up to match point. It's 6-5, and Chiefs understandably say, now is the time for our tactical timeout. We've got to get this right. Just one more round, boys, and we get through to overtime. Even if we don't beat BDS there, at least we're taking a point for our troubles.
This is, you know, what do you do at this point? You're up against a very good team, a Shaiko that's just taking you 3 down. And, you know, what realistically do you say? For me, I think in terms of Chiefs, it's, come on, let's just have more of the same. You know, don't be disheartened by that 1 round. We've been on top of BDS for many of these defensive rounds. Let's just have another one of those. Let's get out into the map. Let's play free. Let's play on their own. They've been doing a great job of it so far. And just keep getting in the faces of BDS. Don't be scared of them. Take those challenges. I think Chiefs just need to keep that aggression. If they try to sit back, I think that could be the undoing of them.
Well, time will tell, right? I'm liking the aggression. I agree with you. I think you need to keep that up, but just be ready for Shaiko to turn it on at the last second. Okay, let's see how this top floor defense goes and see how things play out. For Chiefs, it's a relatively static lineup, I'd argue. You might see Boydie and Bouncer getting off site again. They have been the 2 troublemakers in this game and throughout all of Stage 1 in APAC South. But Worthy on that Valkyrie can also do a lot of work.
Going to have Bouncing out on the rear stage
the
at the moment. IQ, as you say, a little bit of a rare pick there, but I think that's probably because the Valkyrie's been spotted inside of things, so it's just the easy, obvious answer to be able to find those black eye cameras. Chiefs just feeling, obviously, that they need a little bit more sort of pre-warning, a little bit more information on their side, and looking at information, they've also got the bulletproof cam as well, Des, so that's plenty of opportunities for them to be picking up those locations of BDS.
That's exactly it, yeah. And there's just a quick update for you all as well. Of course, again, the Bravo stream, we do have another game on the go. G2 versus Heroic. G2 are up 2-0 on the defense to start things off. So when this ends up out 2-1, actually, I've just been told. Of course, we are on a 4-minute delay for watching a stream, so here we are. So that game equally looking quite spicy as things progress. And this one, still yet to really reach that epic conclusion that overtime feels could be the mechanism we're looking for to really give it what it deserves. Bouncing, just about keeping his head and his shoulders there. Only thanks to a couple of pixels. Now calmly backs his way down these stairs. I don't think he's even fully aware that someone was at the window, to be honest with you, Tim.
Certainly not been rattled by it.
No,
he's,
not at all.
He's not rushing to get away from there. Playday, this is an interesting one. He's inside a small tower at the minute, and there's a lot of men playing around big tower for BDS here. They need to be careful because they could find themselves on the wrong end of a jump out, and we've got a little bit of a challenge in there. Lem's taking some damage as he repels into the top floor, T3 of big tower, but he's not going to be taken down. Bouncing, he's going to run himself away. He's happy that he's done half damage or just a little bit less to Lems, and that's his job done. Half of the round burnt, and he's going to get himself back into Site 2 Attic.
Absolutely, just hovering around at this point as well. Always looking to kind of be contesting something, which I think is nice. It keeps BDS on their toes. They have to be aware that he is going to casually step across a doorway at some point and look for a firefight. And if you're quick, you might find yourself a bit of a freebie. Over halfway through the round, no entries coming in for either side so far. The side of BDS juicing Elens back up towards full health here, and Shiro pulling the trigger on that one. As it gets towards these dying seconds, though, Tim, we are going into that last 60 or so. That is when things are going to get very, very explosive, starting with Ethan potentially on the downstairs here. Doesn't have a C4 in back pocket, but can still do a lot of damage on the flank. Shaiko
has a little look through the floor there to see if there's any opportunity to pick up a shot or two onto Worthy or Ethan, but there won't be, and he's going to have to go downstairs in search of them because he can't just ignore this fight, and it's going to be Worthy who finds him. Renshiro bouncing, both getting in on the action as well. 4 versus 3 as Chiefs come out on top of that little exchange, and that is exactly what they needed. This is to keep them in the game. It's to keep me and Des going to overtime at 100% rate today, and that is exactly what it looks like. Could be the case here as Chiefs continue. But
oh, he got him!
He got him! Digital somehow. Full white flash takes a ton of damage, but manages to find the shotgun blast onto Ilems. Breedy takes a lot of damage, but continues coming in, gets a kill. 2v1 as Renshiro finds one as well. Breedy getting the diffuser down, and somehow it looks like BDS have overcome the odds, but no, the time is ticking down, and Renshiro just manages to find that final kill, and BDS, they close out what has been a very difficult Oregon for them against Chiefs.
Well, Chiefs did not make it easy for them. It might be 3 points for BDS, but you can look back at that 7-point scoreline and just know that BDS was sweating all the way through. Some would argue Chiefs have done enough there to get a single point. I would probably agree with them. But BDS again just showing that when the cards are down on the table, they can still get themselves over the finish line.
You've got to feel a little bit hard done to if you're Chiefs there, in all honesty.
I agree.
They were on top of a lot of elements, a lot of aspects of that game, and you can sort of see the dejection on the face, and it's absolutely no surprise because they quite rightly probably feel like they could have had something out of that game.
I really wish as well if Worthy, rather than going back for that firefight, because he knew that the last man was there inside of the breach, just like hightailed it into like kids' dorms, gone for the hatch, gone for pit, wherever it was going to be, just run away, but felt he really had to take that gunfight, but sadly it was one gunfight too far. We'll go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll discuss this game a little bit more.